Good evening, everybody. Today we're going to start looking at types of functions and how to write their equations. Linear, I'm sure you have seen. And then the polynomial, that basically brings them all in there, showing you the different coefficients you could have and showing you how the powers will go down. Specifically the cubic, and then the power being of any function. So the difference between the polynomial and the power is basically what shifts it has. The quadratic, you have seen. The quartic is the fourth power. Direct variation and inverse variation, you have seen those as well. Rational functions, you want to look at where it would be undefined. The two we need to add are logarithmic. Okay, so that is y equals a plus b ln x, or y equals a plus b log of x. And the last one that we'll get to later in this unit is a logistic. So a logistic, L-O-G, okay, is c over 1 plus ab to the negative x. So in past classes, you have used regression to be able to solve these. What we're going to be looking at now is first identifying types and then going through and solving them. Remember, sorry guys, hold on. Okay, so we had a nice little fire drill in there, and we're going to go back to our graphs now. The first one we can identify, because it is a straight line, that it is linear. So we would use the y equals mx plus b. Use the two data points that we have. Remember, x, y, x, y. So I will write an equation of 25 equals m times 3 plus b, and then 13 equals m times 8 plus b. So now you want to look at how your variables are attached. These variables are by addition. So I'm going to go through, subtract my b's here. So 13 minus 25 minus the 13 will be 12. And then I'm going to have 3 minus 8 will be negative 5m. And b minus b will cancel out. So I'll then divide by negative 5. And I end up with a negative slope, which is perfect because that's what the graph looks like. And then I'm going to plug back in. And I will go ahead and solve . Go ahead, plug that back in now, so I can use either one. So 25 for y. Plug in the 3. Going to multiply those together. So I have, let's see, 12 over 5 times 3. So 36 fifths here, negative 36 fifths. You would add that over, and you get a b value of 161 over 5. So your line is negative 12 fifths over x plus 161 over 5. Here is one for you to try. You can use regression to make sure you've got the right answer. The next one we're going to look at here, based on the shape of it, you can see that it has symmetry. You can see that it's reaching a maximum. You're going to go through things we're going to check out about this. This is going to be the quadratic. So the first thing you're going to notice is that it has 3 variables. And we're going to talk about the concavity. The concavity is which way that it's curved. The choices are concave up or concave down. Because this looks like a cup being turned upside down, you're going to say this is concave down. Now to actually dealing with writing the equation. you can see I have three variables, the a, the b, and the c. So I'm going to need three equations to be able to build with that. So first I'm going to start with the 38.6, that's my y value, and then I'm going to put 8 squared times a plus 8b plus c. Going to the next one, 13.4 is the y value, 14 squared times a plus 14 times b plus c. Just plugging in that x value for this and this x. And then the last point, 26.6 equals 3 squared a plus 3b plus c. Now you look at those. First thing you're probably going to want to do is go ahead and write them out. So 38.6 equals 64a plus 8b plus c. Next one, I'm going to use the 26 here. 26.6 equals 9a plus 3b plus c. When I subtract those, I end up with 12 equals 55a and plus 5b. I'm going to go over, I'm going to do the same thing again using, so when I subtract these two lines, I end up with 13.2 and then negative 187a minus 11b. So now I have functions that have two variables. So looking at those, I can see right here and right here. They're pretty similar, A's and B's. Nothing's going to subtract out automatically like the C's did. So what I'm going to do is use the multiplying system, multiply through this function by 11, and multiply through this by 5. So that will create 66 negative 935a minus 55b. And then when I do this one right here, multiplying through by the 11, I'm going to get 132 equals 605a and positive 55b. So that is positive because now the b's will cancel out. So they'll subtract right there because it's a negative plus the positive. So really we added the lines together. I'm going to end up with 66 equals 154a. So when I added those together, I end up with 198 equals 330a. Divide by the negative 330. And you get a equals negative 0.6. Now, take that answer, bring it back to one of these with two variables. So 12 equals 55 times negative 0.6 plus 5b. Go ahead, 55 times negative 0.6 is negative 33. Oops, 5b. Add that over, and I'm going to end up with b is 45. The last step is to go through and find out, oops, I did not divide by 5. Divide by 5, and b is 9. The last step is now to take your value of a, your value of b, and bring them all back to original and find out your value of c. So I'm going to leave that to you, but I will tell you the answer is negative 0.6 x squared plus 9x plus 5. Now if that wasn't enough fun, Here's another one for you. And again, use regression to find out the answer. We can identify that it's a quadratic. The next type right here, we can see that this is an increasing graph. And what we want to look for specifically when we start to decide that we're going to say, okay, this looks exponential. When you're looking for that, you want to say, okay, the parent function would have the asymptote of the x-axis. Domain, all real numbers. That it has a y-intercept. That's big. All right? So now, to solve that, there's only two variables again. So we will stick with just two equations. So you're going to write 9 equals ab to the x to the 8. That would be my x term. And 4 equals ab to the third power. Now, before when we had two variables, and even 3, they were all attached by addition or subtraction. Now a and b are attached by multiplication, so we're going to use division. So you're going to have 9/4, a divided by a crosses out, and then remember, we subtract the powers, so I'm to the 5th power, and then you're going to take the 5th root or raise it to the 1/5 power. Those are equivalent, right? And b is going to equal 1.1706. Then, oopsies, 6, 0. Next, go back to an original. So 4 equals a times this lovely decimal. And you have it right in your calculator. So you can go ahead and just use the full decimal. You will raise that to the 3rd power and then divide over your final answer, because a comes out to be 2.459. So your equation is 2.459 times 1.176 to the x. Okay. Lastly, we have this lovely function right here. It looks very similar to the exponential. What you want to be aware of is that this one is not going through the y-axis. This one has the asymptote on that side. So be very careful when you're looking at the difference there. If it goes through the y-axis, then you are dealing with an exponential. If it does not, then you're dealing with a power. So again, use your function. So 15 equals a times 3 to the b, and then 2 equals a times 8 to the b. Again, you're going to divide here, and you're going to end up with 15 over 2. The a's cross out, and you have, because they're both raised to the b power, you can set that up right there, that they would both, 3/8 would just be raised to the b. You can then convert that to a log, base 3/8 of 15 over 2, and that will give you b. Okay, so b turns out to be -2. And then you can bring that -2 right there. You're going to have 1/64 a equals 2. And then just divide over, and you will get 143.296x to the -2. I have one more for you to try here. Have a great night.